think getting to 10% of body fat means endless cardio and constant hunger, you've been sold a lie. The leanest people don't live like that. Their secret is that they stopped fighting their bodies and instead upgraded their body's engine. In this video, I'm going to show you the 3 simple steps they used to do it. Forget deprivation. We're going to focus on optimization so you can build a body that burns fat automatically. Hi, my name is Boris Kish. I'm an IFBB license coach, professional nutritionist, and a super heavyweight bodybuilding competitor in the over 100 kilo category, which is over 220 pounds on stage. I'm 6'4" tall, which is 193 centimeters. Welcome to my channel. Number 1 that I would really like to tell you and to explain you is that you have to build up your muscle and engine. What does that mean? I mean, my channel, of course, is, as you know by now. If you don't know, you will find out very soon. I mean, if you're here for the first time, of course, then welcome. But if you're not, you know, my channel is only for muscle building and fat loss, right? But those 2 things are extremely synchronized, you know. If you want to lose fat, the best, this is the chapter number 1 now, is to build actually muscle. Do you understand? Without a lot of muscles, huge amount of muscle, and I'm not asking you to be a bodybuilder. Do you understand? My channel is not for that. I can also work with them, but my channel is not for them. It's really that you put as much muscles on you as you possibly can, most likely naturally, right? Why? Because just think about as, you know, your car as your body as a car, right? I mean, imagine that 8 cylinders are going to spend much more fuel, right, than 4 cylinders, you know. Therefore, as more muscles you have, right, you're going to, how can I say, burn that fat much more. You know, I'm not saying that you completely, you know, avoid the cardio. That's going to come later. But if, you know, those huge muscles are speeding up the basic metabolism, how to explain you this in the simplest possible way. I mean, if you're big and muscular, you know, you can also burn fat while you're sleeping, when you're sitting, when you're doing nothing. As for example, a, you know, car with strong motor that just turn on, even if the car is not moving, it's still going to spend a lot, you know. So therefore, the best way is actually to think opposite. I mean, not opposite, but don't focus on doing cardio only. Focus also and primary that you put that muscle and that you maintain as much muscles when you're, you know, burning fat. Because, you know, if you go into catabolism mode, if you overdo the cardio, you're just going to damage your system, damage your metabolism, you know, and you're going to look like nothing. You know, before we go to number 2, I would like to inform you that I created 3 completely free training splits for everybody. If you want them, join my coaching newsletter below and I'll send them free directly to your email. Number 2 is the kitchen. I was explaining the gray zone in the previous videos about calories and everything. You will get the link at the end if you stay until the end of this video. And this is, you know, speaking about this myth of, is 2000 steps per day, you know, enough, and how to eat properly, you know. I mean, this 10,000 step myth is, you're intelligent, you're smart enough, you're somebody who trains right a lot, does his cardio, is not afraid of going to the gym, doesn't have this mentality of, I don't want to live in the gym. Who lives in the gym, you know? When I was at my prime, I was not more than 3 hours in the gym per day. And really, when I was chasing, you know, to win the gold on the world championship as a super heavyweight, you know, how can I say, bodybuilder? 10,000 steps. Imagine a delivery guy. I know a lot, probably also. You saw delivery, right? People, delivery guys who are non-stop physically active, going, running up to the stairs in the building when there is no elevator, up and down the whole day. They can do 100,000 steps per day and they're still fat. Why? Because they don't eat good stuff, they don't eat clean, they're not in normal or gray zone deficit, or even more. That means, just focusing on 10,000 steps is not going to solve the problem. I mean, yes, of course, cardio is important. That's number 3. I'm going to explain you how to do it, but you should be focused just, that you eat whole food, that you eat clean, that you don't, overdo it, as I was explaining before. So I'm not going to repeat this in this video again, but I'm going to give you something that you can actually do when you're hungry. Eat more protein. Eat more protein. Why? Because, just think logically, you have building material and you have energy material, right? Building material for not only for muscles, for nail, for hair, for organs, for everything in our system is the protein, right? The energetic materials are fats and carbs, right? Carbohydrates. You can turn proteins into energy. That's the truth, but there is a huge myth that if you take a lot of proteins, they will be stored in fat. I don't know anyone who was eating only protein, was on zero fat, zero carb, and got fat only from protein. Doesn't matter how many amounts is he eating or she. How does this function? You can turn proteins into energy. You cannot turn energy into proteins. You cannot turn fats and carbs into the protein, into the building material. So what's the solution here? How does the body function? The body functions if we have enough energy and if we have spare protein. Do you understand? Better to have it more. It's going to be flushed out in the toilet. Do you understand? If the body doesn't have enough energy, it's going to use protein for necessary energy, but for more than that, is not going to store fat from protein. I know, people who were on, I mean, me also, you can be on 600-700 grams of protein. Not that you have to do that, of course. Even if you're on pads, more than 500, I would say, is the topest limit. But I know some that were taking 600. All those huge bodybuilders were big from protein, trust me, not from steroids. It's not going to be stored as fat, no matter how much you eat. So for example, if you have your macros, calorie is not calorie also. If you have your macros, if you really feel on that day that you're hungrier, so we're not speaking about desire you can have during the whole diet. If you're hungrier, eat more protein. Doesn't mean that you have to drink, shake, but you can eat, fish, chicken breast, turkey breast, beef, something without fat. In an additional meal, if you want, it's not going to store fat in you. Trust me. That never, ever, ever happened. I can guarantee you that. Number 3, before we go to number 3, I'm sorry. If you really like this content that is raw, real, unfiltered, and uncut, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe so that I can keep delivering you more, and I'll really appreciate. Number 3 is cardio. How to do cardio. Honestly, one of the reasons why I paused, I didn't officially retire, but I'm not competing at the moment, is because, I'm not going to say hate, but I don't like cardio because I was overdoing it at my prep time. I was doing 1 hour early at 4 a.m. Believe it or not, I was going to the gym that was working 24 hours. And 1 hour early in the morning on empty stomach, then 1 hour after weight training. That was too much, and I got really fed up. So what's the solution? As I always say, the solution is doing HIIT cardio 20 minutes after the gym, 1, how can I say, minute fast, 1 minute slow, 1 minute fast, 1 minute slow for 20 minutes. It's way more effective. This type of cardio is going to increase the metabolism and the fat burning for the next 24 hours. Forgot to tell you in the chapter 1 as the weight training. Do you understand? All those muscles, when you do the weight training, when you do the training in the gym, it's also increasing the fat burning speed much, much longer than some slow cardio that you're going to walk on the treadmill like a damn hamster for an hour, right? who likes that. I certainly don't. So you should do cardio as a tool. Just think about it, you have to understand, think about this way, muscles, weight training is like an engine of the car with 8 cylinders like yours, right? I mean, I'm speaking about your body, how your body functions. And cardio is like a nitric booster. Do you understand? If you're focusing nonstop that you do cardio, imagine if you press nitric boosters in the pimped car, right? Who has that? I mean, it's going to burn the engine and everything in the car is going to be destroyed eventually. So, I mean, if you could use it somehow, imagine this cardio is a power tool, is a really good stuff, but if you overdo it, you're just going to go into the catabolism both with your muscles and mentally. So what I also suggest is don't count these 10,000 stairs. I mean, who does that, right? But instead, not saying that you park your car in the garage if you have a car, right? And that you don't drive it at all, but simply do physical activity whenever you can. Do you understand? If your gym is not far, go there with the foot. If the building has stairs, go with the stairs, don't go with an elevator unless you're really somewhere on the 20th floor. Do you understand? If you're on the 10th, you can go with the stairs. Take a walk every day, do something that you like. If you have to go to the supermarket or wherever, if it's not far away, with your family, whatever, with your dog, just with your partner, don't use the car always. I'm not saying that you have to buy a bike and ride whenever you want. If you have, that's even better. When I do this HIIT cardio, I do it with the bike, prefer because of the joints. It's easier when you sit, you can put headphones, I like heavy metal music or some heavy techno, then those 20 minutes are going faster. But every day when you're outside, just do some physical activity, normal, and that way you're going to burn more calories and you're going to feel better, you're going to feel more proud of yourself as I'm proud of you, and the fat loss is going to be much more fun, right? So therefore, I would really like to ask you, what is your preferred method of, taking that fat off, right? Burning fat by doing, I don't know, 10,000 steps, or do you like to walk? Do you understand? Or are you really focused on calorie deficit? Or are you, preferring to lift heavy weights like me and that does 80-90% of the job, or whatever you like to do? Please write that below. Let's chat and feel free to, say whatever you want about this topic, and feel free to ask me any kind of additional question if you want. And of course, as always, if you really want to learn, I highly suggest 3 things I had to quit to reach the 10% of the body fat in the fastest possible way. Click on this video right here, and as always, I'll see you there.